Well, this is rather awkward, and frankly, one of the only times it's ever occurred. People have tuned in wanting to hear from Anna Khait, the reporter who has been bringing forward some of this information from the Benghazi Whistleblower Falconer. And although I did speak with Anna briefly just about an hour and a half ago, just minutes ago, she sent me a cancellation, and she will not be joining us. I've left the Zoom call open, so if Anna is watching, hopefully she can join the Zoom right now, because she sent me an email out of nowhere saying, scheduling conflict, perhaps another time. That's just strange to me. A lot of people wanted to really hear what Anna had to say. So that's disappointing that she won't be with us. But there's still things that we can talk about. And a lot of people might have seen that she just put out a Periscope video moments ago that seemed to pre-butt.
Please check the number and dial again.
All right. That's very strange. The pre-butt. She seemed frantic in that Periscope video. She was trying to get out in front of this, saying, it's not her story. This is somebody else's story. Alan Parrott's story. So what is going on here? Mike Moore and I spoke about this the other day on More Pain. And the issue that we had was not these allegations brought forward by Alan Parrott. Much of what he's saying is aligning with some of the things that Mike Moore brought out in his book. Now, I spoke with Anna earlier today, and there are some people out there who get upset when I record phone calls and then play them. I only ever do that when I suspect that the person who I'm speaking to is lying to me. And that was my suspicion with Anna, but for whatever reason, I decided that I wanted to give her an opportunity to come on the show and share her information and her story with us live. And I felt that that would be perhaps a better way to present her information. The reason why I wanted to do that was because I have a very strong feeling that there's a social engineering operation going on here. Now, I don't know who is socially engineering who, but it definitely seems to stink, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it, and it's proving extremely difficult. So I'm not sure if we're going to be answering that question today, but I had hoped we might. I apologize to people who tuned in expecting that and perhaps not getting it. So I have spoken with Nick No. I've spoken with Alan Parrott now. I've spoken with a lot of people who are connected to this peripherally.
Hello?
Anna?
Yeah, this is she.
It's Jason Goodman. I was so disappointed that you canceled our interview. Why don't we just do it right now by phone?
I'm going on a show. I have to call you back. I'm really sorry, Jason.
How could you cancel with so little time? You're causing a lot of people to lose faith in your reporting.
Well, it's not about my reporting. It's actually your reporting. You totally slandered me and lied about me. I would like to come on and talk to you.
What did I lie about?
I apologize.
What did I lie about?
You know what you lied about.
No, tell me what I lied about. I didn't lie about anything. Anna, what did I lie about?
I cannot talk right now. I have to go.
Tell me what I lied about. You've just accused me of lying. I didn't lie. Well, she'll find out later tonight that she was just live with that. But people can draw their own conclusions about Anna. I did not lie about Anna. What I said was, I found it improbable that people who are so sensitive in these areas of intelligence would, as their story goes, just randomly select some member of the audience at this public event where allegedly Nick No was giving a presentation, and then Anna presents herself. She's a reality show personality. She's a former professional poker player, and somehow they felt she would be a good person to bring this story out. It's very strange to me. It doesn't seem like the way I would bring this story out. I would want somebody with more of a journalism background. Anyway, let's just listen to what Anna had to say earlier.
Hello.
Anna?
Yeah.
It's Jason Goodman. How are you?
Hi, Jason. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope I'm catching you at a good time.
You are. Let me just pick up my headset. Hold on a second.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. How's it going?
Do you know my show? Do you know who I am?
I know who you are. Yes, I've heard of some of the things you've said about me. That's about really all I know about you. But yeah, I heard you were trying to reach out to me. I never got an email. Maybe you did send like a DM, but I have like hundreds of DMs, so I haven't checked anything. I haven't seen anything. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad you called.
Yeah.
So I'm here to answer any questions you have. I'm here to tell you how this all got started. Whatever you want to know, I'll let you know.
Well, at first, let me apologize. Anything that I've said about you was not meant to personally disparage you. I totally appreciate anybody who wants to be on a reality show or a bikini model or whatever. My primary question about your professional poker career was obviously bluffing against your opponent in poker is something that a skilled poker player is skilled at doing. And it just seemed odd to me that if Alan Parrott has had this information since 2011 or whatever, that he would decide to bring it out here 2 weeks before the election, just days before what we didn't know at the time, which was the revelation of this Hunter Biden stuff, and that he would choose a person with the professional background that you have rather than someone with a more traditional journalism background, particularly given that Alan has told me that he's aware of True Pundit editor Mike Moore and his book about bin Laden being hidden by the United States and Iran. It just struck me as odd.
It does. Okay, so let me explain this to you. So first of all, obviously, my past is, I was playing poker for a living, and I got on the show Survivor. I don't care about reality TV, just Survivor I've always really respected. It's a psychological game, as is poker. I never thought I would ever be involved in politics or even remotely be anything close to it, because I've always really had a disdain for politics my whole life. It was only after Survivor that I started reading more about politics and followed, what's going on and basically, just learning as much as I could, right? I became a born-again Christian, so I've just been doing Bible studies every single Monday and Wednesday. I took myself really out of politics and just focused on God. So this whole thing kind of fell on me. I didn't even expect it. I wasn't planning it and any of that. So in regards to your next form of questions, yes. So regarding, actually, let me just say this also quickly. I did undercover journalism for Project Veritas in 2018. With my investigation, I infiltrated the Democratic Socialists of America. I got Stuart Carafa fired from the Department of State for being a communist, and his famous quote of "resist at all levels" went viral. I was anonymous. I don't work there anymore, so I'm no longer anonymous. But just to tell you that, feel free to put that on record or off record. Doesn't matter.
As you bring that up, let me just pause you a second.
Sure.
Do you want to, instead of us having this phone call, do you want to come on my show and have this conversation?
Sure, I'll do that as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm an open book, and I totally understand everybody's questions, and I want to make it clear. So first of all, absolutely, yes. If you'd like me to, I would be more than happy to. There's nothing I'm hiding. I would love to clear it out. For me, this is not my allegations and my claims. These are Alan Perot's claims, and if he doesn't, and he has to bring all the evidence forth for everybody to see. Because,
what are you doing 3 hours from now? What are you doing 3 hours from now?
I have one show I'm doing at just a really quick Patriot show, I think at 9:30. So it's 8 o'clock in 3 hours? Yeah, it's 8 o'clock in 3 hours. I'm doing nothing. Let's be with you.
Yes. Do you want to do Skype, Zoom? What do you like?
Zoom is probably better.
Zoom.
My Skype sucks.
Okay, no problem. So what is...
I'll happy to go on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, what is
Definitely
your
do.
email address? I will
Sure.
set this up, and you and I will have a...
I don't want her email address to go out over the air if she doesn't want that to go out. But people heard the phone call there 3 hours ago. She was doing nothing at 8 o'clock. And suddenly there was a schedule conflict. Not before she went on to her remarkably, the growth of her Twitter following has been astounding. She had, I think, 100,000 followers or something like that before this whole thing erupted. But you see, 1 hour ago, you heard me just say 3 hours ago we were talking. So 1 hour ago, or slightly after we got off the phone, Anna produced this video in which she frantically laid out how this is not her story. Yeah, I should have gotten her vegan goy. I was trying to get her on the show. But when it becomes clear to me that someone is not going to cooperate, I mean, this is someone who I am now ready to say is lying to me. She just on that phone call said that I lied about something. What have I lied about? She refused to tell us right there on the phone. I have not lied about anything. How can I be so rude, Carol? What was rude? I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. You see, this is a person who has told us that she is a devout, pious woman, despite years of bikini modeling and opportunistic participation in reality shows that she says she doesn't care about, and gambling for a living. I don't think I'm being rude. Okay, yes, so she may have, Tom Spann says she was raptured. I don't know if he's being serious or kidding. Who cares? Greg B. asks. Well, that's an excellent question. Who does care? Why is all this happening? And why would anyone care about it? Well, the only reason I care about it is that when it first came about, we had this interview with Alan Parrott and Nick No. And there were just a number of things about it that seemed odd to me. That's not enough to jump to the conclusion that what they're saying is untrue, but it's one of these situations where the more you start looking into it, the less credible the whole thing seems to be. Now, a lot of people have made allegations about me over the 4 years that I've been here on YouTube, and yet none of them have ever presented any evidence. Now, as I said, I did speak to Alan Parrott. I don't have all this material ready to present because until minutes before this broadcast began, I understood I would be interviewing Anna. I don't think that's going to happen. I also want to add, people who were looking earlier for Ole Damagard, we did not have a broadcast today. Ole is fine. Cody is fine. There were just some logistical things that we had to postpone the show. And I've been on the phone all day with Gold Star family members and other people to just try to get to the bottom of this story. I want to remind viewers that every Monday, normally at 11 a.m., they can watch Light on Conspiracies with Ole Damagard. That show is available for sponsors on patreon.com/lightonconspiracies, and of course also available on patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Separately and unrelated, Jimmy and Joanne Moriarty also had a logistical issue that delayed tonight's show. They'll be back next week. Jimmy and Joanne are totally fine. I actually wanted to get them involved in this interview with Anna because as people who watch Unseen Libya on patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty or on the Crowdsource the Truth paid sponsor channels, they know that Jimmy and Joanne were in Libya from 2007 through 2011, and they have access to firsthand information, intelligence that the DIA, the CIA, they never had this information, and Jimmy and Joanne have been relentlessly pursued by a variety of characters trying to convince them that what they saw with their own eyes, documents that they possess from the tribes of Libya and elsewhere, are somehow incorrect. But yet Jimmy and Joanne have presented hard evidence of everything that they have spoken about. And it's a stark contrast to what we're seeing happening right here. Now, I don't have this Alan Parrott call ready to play. I may put that out in the future. I'm not attacking anybody. I just want people to look at this from the standpoint of how this all came about. So approximately a week ago, actually, I think it was about 8 days ago, it was like on Friday or Saturday of last week, this potentially bombshell information came out. I think it was even billed as Benghazi bombshell. It came out on this thing, Pure Social, right? Right. So what is that? That was something I wanted to ask Anna, like, what is Pure Social TV? And was this just simply, I mean, look at this. It seems to be some kind of social media property based almost entirely on launching this video. Because when you just go to Pure Social TV, it's talking about this Benghazi bombshell. And if we hit play on this, it's going to play this interview video. Do we know how many views this has gotten? 24,000 likes. So, you know, this could be the way to launch an alternative platform. This could be a platform that's launched because they're fearful that this will be taken down. I want to reiterate, I do not suspect that Charles Woods has anything to do with this. I suspect Charles Woods and other Gold Star families would be the target of this type of social engineering operation. And Truth 101 is telling us that falconry is a big sign of wealth and power in Iran. We know that. And the way any kind of, Anna did not show up, it's Whip. You're going to want to go back to the beginning of the video and figure out why she chose to do that. It remains a mystery to me, and it just deepens my distrust in her. I distrust her because she was a professional poker player, and one of the skills you need to play poker is to be very good at deception, to bluff your opponents. She also, in the brief phone call that I played, spoke about how she was an undercover journalist. Now, I appreciate that. Laura Loomer did that as well. People that I know that have worked with Project Veritas, this phone number that Anna is using from Brooklyn right now is not the same phone number, apparently, that she had 2 years ago when she was working for Project Veritas. Could be a lot of explanations for that. I think most people like to keep the same phone number nowadays, that they have that phone number portability thing, but I don't trust this information as it's being presented to us. I want to play another phone call with somebody that I'm unlikely to ever speak to again, which I recorded because I suspected this individual of being dishonest as well. This is a phone call from earlier this week with Nick No. Sorry, let's turn off their video there. We don't want his video playing. This is a phone call I had with Nick No. And someone who's appeared on the show before contacted me, said, Nick No wants you to call him. And I said, well, that's weird. I don't have his phone number. I was given his phone number. I called him. Here's the call.
Jason, what's going on?
Nick, how did you know this was me? Do I have your number? Mimi said that I...
Yeah.
How do I have your number? I don't remember ever meeting you.
I've talked to you before whenever you interviewed the Moriartys.
What do you mean?
You had the Moriartys on your show, man.
Every week.
Oh. I don't watch your show that often. I just saw them on there that one time, and so...
But when did we talk? I don't remember that.
It was, Kevin Shipp was on your show, and then I talked to you after that.
On the phone?
That's right. Yeah, I talked to you on the phone. I think you guys were actually both together or something at that time, or we did a three-way call or something like that.
What were we talking about?
It was actually almost a year. It was almost a year ago today. We were talking about Benghazi, talking about all the witnesses that were there were all murdered. They were supposed to come testify here in the United States. Talked about all kinds of stuff.
I apologize. I don't recall. I mean, I definitely didn't have this phone number until Mimi gave it to me. But anyway, unimportant.
Okay.
Let's chat.
What's going on, man? Would you like to have the audio recordings and documents I have?
Sure. Yeah. Send them to me, and that would be fine. I mean, do you want to come on my show? I mean, I'm sure you're aware that I've been highly skeptical of what's come out over the weekend.
And fair enough, man. You should be. It's your job.
Uh-huh. So how did you meet Alan Parrott? Parrot? How is it? Parrott?
I'd like to keep that to myself, how I met him, but I met him through another person. And when I met him is because he wanted me to help him get these audio tapes and recordings. He has all kinds of stuff. He has all kinds of documentation. I'll send you an email. It'll outline the rest of the stuff he has. Well, at least, I mean, he has so much. I mean, he has way more than that. But on this topic, he has recordings and things about that. So something that you need to know also is that when SEAL Team 6 was shot down in, where's it called, where they were, the Army Rangers that were there, we talked to one of them, and he said that actually he ended up marrying Charles Woods' daughter's friend, like her best friend or whatever,
Right.
that she ended up marrying him.
I think he mentioned that in your interview with Alan.
Yeah. I guess they did not even call for help, so I don't know why they were there. So the setup, I mean, in that regard, if that's true, I mean, why would they go there if they weren't needed, right? Especially like in that manner. It looked like it was an emergency. They wouldn't normally take something like that. It's a sit and duck, you know. That's really strange, isn't it? And then we talked to the family, the Gold Star family members, and they knew something was coming beforehand. So something that's like that's people are confused about. Okay, I know that there's like 4. I think I've heard even that there's 4 different teams of SEAL Team 6. There's a red, gold, blue. I forget the other one. Anyway, so we talked to a SEAL about that recently, actually today, and he said that out of the ones who were killed, it was a mixture of them from different teams that were there. It wasn't just one team that got shot down there. I guess they've been a mixture. So anyway, there's a lot weird about that too.
Let's just back up a second. So you were in the Air Force or something like that? Tell me a bit about you, because I don't remember ever talking to you, and as far as I'm aware, the first time I saw you was on that interview with Alan.
It's okay. Yeah. Well, dang, I thought you would remember me. I guess you talk to a lot of people all the time, don't you?
But I just don't remember this conversation with Kevin Shipp at all. A 3-way conversation with Kevin Shipp about Benghazi. I mean, I do talk to a lot of people, but that sounds like something I would remember. What was the upshot of the conversation? What were we going to do after that?
It was almost 1 year ago exactly. Is the last American Priority Conference. I was there, and I had seen that, and I shared it with some people, and anyway, I got a hold of Kevin through mutual contact, and then Kevin put me in touch with you after I saw your show together. And that's how we were talking. But
who was that mutual contact?
Her name is Beth. She's on the Benghazi Memorial. She had an organization for that, but I think they've ran dry on funding because of COVID or whatever. Come on.
I don't know, Beth. And so Kevin told you to contact me, and then what were we contemplating doing together?
No, we were talking about the fact that Moriarty said a pretty darn solid story, and I think it was relevant and it should be incorporated. And that's where we left off things, and then I can't quite remember how we lost contact, but that's how I had your phone number.
What's your email address? Were we in email contact?
Maybe we did. I probably used nicholas.r.no@gmail.com if I emailed you.
No, nothing here from that.
He must have just had... Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a 3-way call with Kevin. I'm pretty sure he was on there.
Do you know someone named Michael No? N-O-E? Robert No? Jay No?
Robert knows my father, but he's not really active in anything, so...
Michael No?
This
is just some random person who emailed me some article. This is just somebody watching my show. I don't think this is necessarily anybody you know. They sent me links to things. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't remember. It's irrelevant at this point. Okay. But So see, the thing that confuses me about Alan is that he wants to get the story out. How did you guys land on this woman, Anna Khait?
Actually, she was... Khait, she was present at the American Priority Conference, right. And she watched our presentation, and then she did something called Periscope, I think, and uploaded the video of it there, and then I gave her the raw files. We were able to get them from I had the files that I used in the presentation. I had those, and then I gave, anyway, long story short, she uploaded it to Twitter, and then it out of nowhere, it became viral really fast, which was really interesting. I never like had a situation like that in my life where a lot of people started contacting me. It's been really busy last few days, but yeah.
So did Kevin Shipp give you my number, or did you call us, or because how did you get this number?
No, Kevin gave it to me, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I think you and Kevin had a falling out.
Correct. He lied to me.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the same boat. But hey, listen, Charles Wiz is calling me. I have to call you back, okay?
All right.
All right, bye.
So that was interesting. He said he would call me back, but of course he didn't. The thing that it didn't reveal to him there is that the phone number that I had called him from is a phone number that's been widely published in lawsuits and that social engineers are aware of. But I don't think I ever spoke to Kevin Shipp on that phone number, and I don't think that Kevin Shipp would have given it to this guy. And I definitely do not recall a three-way call with Kevin Shipp and anybody about Benghazi. I would have remembered that. And yes, he got off the phone quickly. He did not send me this documentation that was the first thing he spoke about when the call opened up. So I called him back. I called him back on Sunday. That call took place on Friday. And I basically asked him, why he hadn't sent the material. A couple of other questions. I don't remember if I recorded that phone call or not. Like I said, I wasn't exactly ready to do this presentation. I thought we were going to have an interview with Anna Khait. People are telling me that Anna right now is on some other show. I think quite clearly what occurred is that when I called her, she didn't know that it was me. She didn't expect me to be calling. I'm not going to describe how I got her phone number, but it was given to me by somebody who knows her, and it was different than the phone number that somebody else who knew her not long ago had. So that's interesting. Anyway, when I got our friend Nick No on the phone, he was driving in his car and he said, "Oh, I'll send you this stuff right now." And I said, No, don't do anything dangerous while you're driving. You can send it to me later. It's also pretty weird. If it was public, Kevin could have given me that number. That's true, Hockey, but I don't think Kevin is searching through Pacer to find my phone number. He would have just had it in his phone, and he would have given it to the guy. But the point of the matter is, he was all over the place. He called me when he heard the Moriartys on my show, yet he didn't know that the Moriartys are on every week. If he's listening to the Moriartys and thinking that they have information that's pertinent to this Benghazi story, and he is familiar with my show. Alan Parrott separately told me in a private phone conversation that he was familiar with Mike Moore and Mike Moore's book, all about, allegations of bin Laden in Iran. My thought process is just, if they know about all this, and on the one hand, they're telling us that they're having difficulty getting this story to the press, I'm not stumping for Mike Moore to ask why you didn't contact him. I'm just asking a logical question. Mike Moore has a background in journalism and a website that gets hundreds of thousands of views, I think, daily. We know Mike Moore has already been retweeted by the president several times. He's got this book. Alan Parrott's known about this information. His documentary came out in 2010 or 2011. Why wouldn't they contact Mike Moore to put this out? Why would they go to somebody whose background is as a professional poker player? It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And the more I dug into this, the more things came up that didn't make sense. I spent the entire day today on the phone with various members of Gold Star families, asking them about all this, and what they've revealed to me is that no actual evidence of anything new has been brought forward. There's a lot of documentation here. This is a letter here from Brian Ettinger. Please send me a fully executed copy, Brian Ettinger. And I asked both Alan Parrott and I think Nick No as well. I asked, why would anybody's lawyer speak to you about their client? They would not breach the attorney-client privilege. And why would a guy who was allegedly Joe Biden's lawyer need any of these guys to bring information to the President of the United States or whoever? All this stuff about, Biden and Obama knowing and that Extortion 17 was going to be destroyed, leaking the location, allowing 7 unknown Afghani soldiers onto the aircraft without them even being on the manifesto, basically shutting down investigations, not moving forward with investigation. All of that stuff has been talked about and known about for months, for years by the Gold Star families. And when I asked flat out, what new information, I asked members of the Gold Star families who I trust and hold in very high regard, and they have nothing to hide. They just want to get to the bottom of this story and figure out who did this, what happened, and who is to be held responsible for it. They told me that no new information has been brought forward. There's this allegation that Alan Parrott has checks and serial numbers from these man pads. Man pads, it's an acronym for a man-portable air defense system. And this seems to be a generic acronym for any kind of shoulder-mounted, ground-to-air missile. Here we see a man-portable shoulder-to-air missile, a Soviet SA-7. Now, this doesn't seem to be the type of weapon that would be what they're talking about. I think we're talking about heat-seeking or guided missiles or something. This is a piece of technology that was developed in 1968. Separate from all this, the Moriartys have brought forward evidence and testimony from who is this person? There's a lot of dumb comments in here. Anyway, the Moriartys have brought forward evidence that would indicate that the State Department was involved in bringing a particular type of ground-to-air missile. I think even a Stinger missile is a general, it's like saying there were machine guns there or there was a camera there. Well, what model was it? What were its capabilities? How did it get there? Who sold it to them? The Moriartys have told us that see, all these people with fake names are coming in here with comments. I'm not even going to address those particular comments because this is social engineering happening right in front of our eyes, everybody. And here's what I want to be clear about. I'm not contesting any of this evidence. All of this evidence could very well be 100% authentic. The question is, why did they wait until 2 weeks before the election? And now, as we know, just days prior to the release of this explosive Hunter Biden information, which is new information and new evidence. And it would seem that this story might have been intended to distract from the Hunter Biden information, which the mainstream media is saying is fake. But there has been copious evidence presented that causes us to believe that the Hunter Biden story is real. And what happened right away when this story came out? Let's think. Mike Moore and I, we did a show. This guy's name is Alan Parrott, right? Okay, so there's been now a series of articles in the Daily Beast. The first one that came out 5 days ago was this. Trump touts Falconers. He's, basically, there's this whole story tying Benghazi to Extortion 17 and to bin Laden being hidden in Iraq. But Daily Beast is right out of the gate with this story that is saying that it's disinformation. Trump is touting Falconer's Benghazi blood sacrifice conspiracy theory. It's already, stated as a conspiracy theory here. And I think it's important for people to remember that Barry Diller is the chairman and CEO of IAC, which owns the Daily Beast. And we've spoken quite a bit about Barry Diller. We've spoken quite a bit about the Daily Beast. We've spoken quite a bit about IAC, the Interactive Corporation. Now, I'm not saying that this is an anagram for CIA. It does use the same letters, but that's just a coincidence. Barry Diller, as chairman and CEO of IAC, which also owns, hockey, whatever the guy's name is. IAC also owns Vimeo. Within the same time frame that this article was released, the entire Crowdsource the Truth Vimeo channel was deleted, eradicated. And what this did was it temporarily shut down the sponsor exclusive library for Crowdsource the Truth. Luckily, we're custom building, just in the same way so many other people have had to, a video server that will just serve Crowdsource the Truth sponsor exclusive shows. There's a stopgap measure in place, so people who watched David Hawkins and John Cullen and the other sponsor exclusive shows last week, you're getting new shows, but the full library is temporarily offline. I hope that people will stay with us and that new sponsors will join us. You're going to get access to all of these videos, and even without access to these videos, you're still helping to keep Crowdsource the Truth alive, and so we can talk about this kind of stuff. But I find it very strange that Barry Diller has got Chelsea Clinton on the board of directors of Interactive Corp. The guy also owns Match.com and Tinder. He also purchased something called, or I should say IAC purchased something called StarNet Interactive, which is a real similar name to StarNet Communications, the company that was busted in 1999 in Vancouver, Canada. And, this is interesting too. Newsweek magazine did a big story. As a matter of fact, most of the information that we initially found out about this bust came from Newsweek magazine. Guess who used to own Newsweek magazine? Interactive Corp. IAC. I don't know if they owned it in 1999, but this is interesting that this article about StarNet Communications being busted for online gambling, child pornography, and all kinds of sick stuff. This article came out in Newsweek in 1999. And now, when Mike Moore and I came out with a story questioning the integrity of some of the people surrounding this new information that just came out last week, we get shut down right away at the same time that Interactive Corporation is putting out this story that Alan Parrot is, convincing Trump, that it's a conspiracy theory. That even came out in the Trump town hall. Savannah, whatever her name is there, she put out the story, asking Donald Trump, why is he retweeting conspiracy theories? Now, thankfully, Alex Jones and the people at InfoWars were generous enough to offer Crowdsource the Truth a channel on their video service, banned.video, BANNED.video. People can now see select Crowdsource the Truth videos on banned.video, including the video that Vimeo doesn't want you to see, the previously sponsor exclusive episode of More Pain, where we ask, where's Bin Lotto? And we're using this Where's Waldo graphic there. But Mike Moore and I went through a number of issues here where, again, we're not necessarily, here's Mike calling right now. Hang on. Now, Mike, I'm live. Do you want to be on the show? You're on speakerphone right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got a break, man. I'm fucking tied up. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Well, what's cooking?
What happened? You get stood up?
Well, it's not the first time a beautiful lady didn't show up for the date, but, It was very strange, Mike, because I spoke to her just a little while ago. She said, yeah, no problem, come on the show. Then she puts out this Periscope video that, I don't know, did you get a chance to see that? Does that sound to you like backpedaling?
Look, I told you last week, when was it? It's been a week? I don't even know. Every day is like a month. I said there will be no evidence coming out. None. Was I right?
So far, yes. This video, Anna Khait is lamenting that Alan Perot has not yet brought forward the evidence that he said he would. I mean, here's the question. Even if he's not concerned about his own personal safety, if the interest is to get this evidence out, announcing it and then waiting a week, isn't that dangerous? If he gets killed, if the evidence gets destroyed?
Come on, nobody's getting killed. The only people getting killed are us by 1,000 cuts.
Exactly.
Nobody's getting killed, okay? For this kind of stuff because it's not true. Right. Unless we see some proof. So that's called an operation.
Yeah.
Right? So
my thought process this whole time, Mike, has been...
People get killed for real information, not concocted operations.
Right. My thought this whole time, Mike, is that this thing is put here because, look, Rudy Giuliani and Steve Bannon have now told us that they've had this information for a while. They brought it to a few different news outlets. They were talking with the editors at the New York Post. Stories don't just land in a paper and get put out the next day. Other people are going to know that this information is coming. And could this entire thing with Nick No, Alan Perot, and Anna Khait be put together by somebody, even if not all of those people know that it's going on, could be put together as a distraction operation?
Well, it's not only a distraction operation, but they lump so many different stories into one bucket to try to make everything seem like it was conspiracy theory. That's kind of the play here, I think. It's unfortunate. Stuff I worked on got lumped into their story, and they were also talking about Fast and Furious. They were going to come out with some proof on that, and that we never saw anything from that. So I told you a week ago there will be no information or no evidence forthcoming that's like real evidence because I've already been down the Silk Road. You know, I know everything that's out there for the most part, and it would blow my socks up. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Maybe, see, it could exist, right? But they don't have it, believe me. Not at that level. These guys don't even know. I listened to your interview, and Noah was talking about he doesn't even fucking know how the SEALs work. I mean, there's a gold team, there's a blue team. What is this, a box of crayons? I mean, I think you have to know this is not, national security stories are not for children. I mean, these stories, if you get something right, here's the danger. If this was true and they tripped onto this and they did a video, their lives would be in danger.
Turned upside down like the Moriarty.
Yeah. You don't get, I'll just give you a quick, I don't know how long I've been on Twitter, for 5 years. I got like 300,000 people, and we're just battling Twitter now. They yanked our True Pundit account. When you're telling the truth, you don't gain 100,000 people on Twitter, period.
In a week.
Ever. Like, it takes a year, maybe a year and a half. They just don't hand out 100,000 followers. If what you're spewing is puts the beautiful people in danger, they run you through a funnel, man. They clamp down on you. You know, I always play the Clash's clamp down. It's the clamp down. So, and I understood that a week ago, and I didn't say too much about it. I literally said there would be no information, no proof, because this would have already leaked out. This isn't something you keep a lid on.
Right.
And I know one of the families, and he was the gold team leader of SEAL Team 6, and he died in Extortion 17. And so, you know, this is something that would have been out there among friends and family and colleagues and things like that. And
these people in the Gold Star families, they've been working on researching this for, since it happened, and they've put together some tremendous information. There's a lot of people who want to throw them off the trail as well, because they're banging on the truth, trying to get to it. One other thing along the lines of what you're talking about with Twitter, Mike, I don't think we should discount the amazingly aggressive move that Twitter made to keep the Hunter Biden information out of the public.
It was beyond aggressive. It was
unprecedented.
It was insane. But that's what you're dealing with. So you're talked about this today here. We have fucking great sessions here today where we talk just amongst ourselves, the people involved, and just shoot the shit. And they don't see this as, the folks who run Twitter don't see it as social media platform. They see it as a tool to install whoever they can politically to further their ideologies. It has nothing to do with freedom of speech and the right to exchange the free flow of information and ideas. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
So if something, see, this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example you just brought up. They clamp down on the truth. They don't foster it and help it spread. And they put a lid on it, and they put it in a vice, just like they did with the Hunter Biden story. You didn't see that happen with this
right.
this story, and the whole thing plays out, and it makes Trump look foolish because he retweeted it a couple times. I don't know how he got hoodwinked into that, or what Scavino's doing over there, or what happened, but they put him on the hot seat, and then they try to wrap it around his neck like an anchor, and hopefully that'll sink him, a couple weeks out from the election, but he's proven more resilient, and the Hunter Biden laptop has come out, and that overshadows everything. If what is purported to be on there is on there, and time will tell, and if we get some kind of confirmation about that as well, we'll do that tomorrow. But I just wanted to check in, and I got to run.
No problem.
But I heard you talking, and I got freed up, and I said, it looks like you got stiff. But they don't want to talk about this stuff.
Of course not.
They are probably have been played to.
Yeah, well, that's it. We don't know who's playing and who's doing the playing. But let me just ask you real quick one final thing.
This is a fucking high-stakes game, man. I know the players. These guys are fucking professionals, man. This is not like Romper Room or some kiddie hour. People think that all this is like a little, it's fun and we get to play journalists. No, you don't. These guys are killers, man. As far as being political animals, you know what I mean?
I do.
If they put an op together, this isn't their first op. Some of these guys are real pros, and you can get played fast. And they're going to pick people that can get played. And they chose this Amp Fest, and whoever runs that should be excoriated. They should be the Gold Star family should be tuning up a lawsuit against that entire operation down there. It's a travesty. Unless some smoking gun comes out, and I'll be the first to admit if it does, but it's not going to come out because, like I said, we've already traveled the Silk Road in Iran and through the Middle East, so to speak. We know all the traders here.
But even if there is information that you don't know that these guys might have, isn't it, what I've observed, well, it's just inconsistent behavior. If somebody has the truth and they're going to release it, there's ways that they answer questions. Like, just let me ask you this one last question before you go, because specifically about what's happened just tonight with Anna Khait, I don't know if you heard the top of this show where I played the phone call with her where she says she's not busy until 9:30 p.m., which is still another 40 minutes from now. She schedules a show with me for 8 o'clock. She sent me an email that included a photo because I told her I wasn't going to just, select any photo, send me a photo that you like. And she sent me the full frame version of this photo. So I have a much bigger photo of this that I used in the image. And then just like half an hour or less before this show, she canceled. But prior to that, she puts out that frantic, Periscope video. What do you think about that behavior, Mike? What does that say to you?
I think if you're a journalist, if you're a true journalist, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you make a mistake, you gotta fucking own it, and you gotta say, "Hey, I got played. And you gotta do the. You want to do the crime, you gotta do the time. You gotta be upfront with people and say, I might have gotten played on this. It's not really. I didn't see this coming, and this guy said he was going to give us evidence, and so." Those are your decisions in life, just like anything else, Jason. If you make a mistake, you can own it or you can run from it. And it's the problem is when you run, when do you stop running? You know, if the story keeps going, you're gonna be running for a while. If they just owned it and said, "Hey, this fucking guy said he was going to give us this information, and it's not forthcoming. We think this could be we think this could be bullshit." But instead, they're doubling down and I mean, look, part of the problem is you don't go to press unless you have the information in your hand. Like I would say, "Okay,
Right.
Chief, where's the fucking goods?" Oh, it's forthcoming. Fuck you.
And the
I'm not
parrot.
sticking my neck on the line for you, dude. What do you mean it's forthcoming? Checks in the mail. The government is, I'm from the government. We're here to help you. That kind of stuff. It's like, no. I got to have the goods if I'm going to stake my rep on it,
Right.
When we put the book together, everything was documented. You had people going on the record saying, yeah, this was going on, that was going on. We got documents from the CIA. We got fucking documents, congressional documents. We got top secret documents from Brennan in the White House to Saudi Arabia. Without that stuff, the story doesn't stand on its own. It's just more bullshit. So a roundabout way to answer your question is own it. It's okay if you get burned out here. You're dealing with professionals. It's especially if you're a young journalist and you stick your neck out. Maybe you get, you get yourself in a bad situation. But I think most people are understanding and say, wow, that could happen to anybody. And it can. You make mistakes as a journalist. Nobody out here is perfect.
Right.
The bigger mistake is if you fuck up and you try to pretend you didn't fuck up,
Right.
and everybody knows, then it starts to stink. Like, it starts to stink that this isn't never an organic story. If you're doubling down and tripling down to protect your the people that are in this, especially your sourcing. If the source sold you out, why wouldn't you just? I
Right.
would say the fucking guy sold me out. He's a piece of shit.
But even then, as you're saying, it's a little bit too late because it demonstrates that the proper steps weren't taken up front. And I want to tell you, Mike, I want to tell the entire viewing audience, when I created this graphic, my impression of Anna changed quite a bit when she answered my phone call and agreed to come on the show. Because, she said she had heard things that I had said about her. As far as I can recall, the only thing I ever said was, it seems like this is a person who is a bikini model and a reality star, which would indicate somebody who wants attention on themselves. And separate from that, she was a professional poker player, which indicates that this is somebody who is adept at bluffing and deceiving opponents. So collectively, this seemed like a strange choice for these guys to choose as the person to be their spokesperson. And when she agreed to do the interview...
Here's the other thing, right? It underscores massive challenges ahead for legitimate operating journalists because these people came out of nowhere. The story came from left field, and the president's retweeting it like 2 days later. What?
That's weird.
What the hell's going on here? So, I have to tell you, I've written hundreds of stories in the last 4 years. None of them have gone viral like that. Maybe one or two, but they weren't. They didn't. It's like instant oatmeal, right? These stories, they take a long time to get moving to that level to get to the president. It's not something that happens in 48 hours. It's very fucking fast, and I, we still don't know who these folks are. And like I said, they might have gotten played, but if they have, you got to come out and say you got played.
The other thing is,
the world.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I created this graphic after speaking to her, I had the inkling that perhaps she was the one being played, and I even titled the video. What did I call it? Something like, who's bluffing or something like that. I called it.
Yeah, see, here's the deal, bro. That's what I'm talking about. The challenges now that lie ahead for everybody who's legit, all the truth tellers. So you get fucking excoriated and you get deplatformed for telling the truth, but you get rewarded for bullshitting.
Right.
And you get rewarded for disinformation, whether you got played or not. It is on you as a journalist. You just can't go around saying, I got played again. You get like maybe one shot at it. Everybody gets a second chance, I guess, but but you're getting rewarded, and truth tellers are getting deplatformed. So that's the challenge. What's to stop legitimate guys from saying, fuck this? I could just flip a switch, and I could be I could twist the news like everybody else and make a lot of money doing it. Then what you have is a bunch of rogue maniacs, and where's the truth in all this, So it's, the proof is in the pudding, bro. If you see legitimate people who are getting deplatformed on all the different platforms, and other ones who are being propped up, I always say this, like people on Twitter, journalists with 1 million followers, 1 million plus followers, you're full of shit. You're fucking full of shit. You sold out one way or the other. You can't get 1 million plus followers in journalism. I don't give a shit if you are out here telling the truth. They will not give you 1 million followers. So, everybody's favorite trading card journalist, you have to take a step back and say, how does this person get 1 million followers? That's like saying, that's like the badge of courage that you're a safe journalist.
Right.
You won't go off the reservation. You won't do anything that's rogue. You won't, expose anybody that's important, that kind of thing. Here's your 1 million followers and go make money from it. Go monetize it.
Right. So people are talking about the title that I named this was Benghazi Whistleblowing Falconer, Straight Dealing or Boldface Bluff. And I called it that because after Anna had agreed to appear with me, I presumed that perhaps she was realizing that this guy hadn't presented the evidence and maybe had fooled her. But even in the beginning of this show right now, when I got her on the phone, instead of giving a calm explanation as to how she could have possibly screwed up this schedule and not been available when she had previously told me that she was, she just said that I lied. When I asked her what I lied about or what she alleged that I lied about, she refused to tell me what that was. I got a distinct feeling, Mike, that Anna was very desperate to get onto her now 200 and whatever strong Twitter channel and start telling her version of the story to overpower what we're doing right here. So it's going to be very important.
Well, it's just very, very basic, and I got to run, right? Remember the old lady on the Wendy's commercial? Where's the beef?
Right.
Where's the fucking beef? And it's dangerous. Now you don't even need proof. And you have a viral story. You could just say, the proof, it's coming. We'll get around to it. Oh, really?
And if it doesn't show up, you say, oh, well, it's not my story. It's this guy.
Moving on to the next scheme. We'll have something in a couple days. There's something else. Bread and circuses. People forget about it.
But now she's tweeting other stuff like crazy.
They've done their job, in other words, whether they realize it or not. They've been either you are in on it or you're a useful idiot. Either way, it doesn't bode very well for your journalism career. But I'm sure these people parlayed into something. Who knows? She could end up on Fox News.
Now, I don't think this is journalism that we're seeing, Mike. This is social engineering.
Most of the stuff we see isn't journalism anymore. Journalism is gone, man. There's like a few relics around. There's a few relics, and you can tell that they stick out. They stick out like a sore thumb. And people do gravitate to those folks because people out here are fucking smart. And that's who I want following me and listening to me, right? I want smart people. Dumb people are a dime a dozen. I got to run.
Okay, take care, Mike.
I'll talk to you, brother.
You got it.
See you, man. Bye.
I really appreciate Mike calling in there, giving us his insights. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. I'm not saying that this or that particular piece of evidence is false. A lot of people in the comments are getting it. When you've got people hanging around important stories, crapping it up with social engineering nonsense and things that don't make sense, right? Somebody said social engineering with bad acting, right? I think it's a pretty common tactic to get all over an important story and fill it up with false, fake nonsense. Why does she have a blue check from Twitter? That's an excellent question. I tried to get a blue check from Twitter. They said they're not giving them out anymore. Keep in mind, Twitter are the same people who went to enormous lengths to bury this Hunter Biden story. So if we want to know why Anna Khait has a blue check from Twitter, it could have something to do with perhaps Twitter wanting a conspiracy theory story to overwhelm a real story. I mean, why did they also throw off people who love the 17th letter of the alphabet? I didn't particularly follow that thing, but I think people should be free to talk about it, debate it, discuss it, whatever. I don't know how she got a blue check. Well, she was on Survivor. Maybe that was it. Who knows? Anyway, that might be all I have to say about this right now. I had legitimately hoped to interview Anna. I don't believe anything that she says. I don't believe anything that Nick No says. And I don't believe anything that Falcon Parrot Man says. I believe the Gold Star families, and I believe these individuals or someone who is manipulating them is attempting to co-opt the credibility and the sympathy that people have for these Gold Star families. Keep in mind also, these Gold Star families, they've lost children. They've suffered a tragedy that hopefully most people will never know. But when you come to someone like that and you offer them hope, and again, I don't know if these people we're talking about, I mean, Anna, Alan, Nick No, I don't know if they've been deceived by somebody, but it certainly seems like Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden would really want a story like this that muddies up Benghazi, Extortion 17, and bin Laden in Iran. They would really want a story like this to come out right before the Hunter Biden story and distract whatever attention it possibly could from that, create a preemptive situation where they can call the president a conspiracy theorist. I mean, look at this. The Daily Beast this is a campaign. The Daily Beast, Interactive Corp, they have another article here saying, meet the Falconer, trying to convince Trump that bin Laden killed Navy SEALs. I don't know that that's what we think about what happened with Extortion 17. I don't think it's that we think bin Laden killed Navy SEALs. I think it's that the Gold Star families believe that Barack Obama and Joe Biden knew about it, put out the names and addresses of the SEAL team members and their families. I believe that's what the Gold Star families think. And I'm going to stay on this. We're going to have some more interviews, hopefully, with some members of these Gold Star families. But this strikes me as a social engineering operation that was intended to make anything and everything having to do with Extortion 17, bin Laden in Iran, and Benghazi to appear like a discredited conspiracy theory. And I think that Barry Diller's Interactive Corp has played a role in this. And I think that there are people trying to fool us. So there we go. Yes, the Daily Beast is fake news. The Daily Beast is a social engineering platform, as I think most of these corporate-owned news things are. And that's why I'm super thankful for all the people who sponsor this show, because you know there's not some giant corporation telling me you can or cannot print this or that. The show is sponsored by you, the viewers. So I hope people will go to patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I will be back tomorrow. We got a full slate of shows. Mike Moore will be with me for his regular show, and we'll be back with the Bishop as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bad choice to cancel Anna Khait, whatever your name is. I think a lot of people, including me, do not believe that you're telling the truth. And why don't you email me what it is you think I was lying about? I told no lies about you. I gave some opinion statements, and I stick by that opinion. Appreciate everybody for watching. Please share this video. I think Anna Khait was trying to counter-program it with her pre-buttal backing away from this story. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.